A pretty insane story here to talk about. So you guys know Samantha Bee. She called Ivanka Trump a feckless cunt because Ivanka has been influencing the president in many different ways, and she also has her brand being made by child labor in China, and she basically posted this picture of her and her kid hugging, and this was at the time that the report came out that ICE had lost 1,500 migrant children, and so she rightfully called her a feckless cunt. Makes 100% sense. And the internet made a bunch of bullshit uproaring, but I'm not going to rehash what I just went on a tangent on, so you can go watch that segment if you want. But here's what's crazy. Sarah Huckabee Sanders, the massive liar, came out and said that TBS should cancel her show. Here's what the Daily Beast says. They say, White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders slammed comedian Samantha Bee's comments about Ivanka Trump on Thursday. Quote, "The language used by Samantha Bee last night is vile and vicious. The collective silence by the left and its media is appalling. Her disgusting comments and show are not fit for broadcast, and executives at Time Warner and TBS must demonstrate that such explicit profanity about female members of this administration will not be condoned on its network." So this is crazy, okay? This is really crazy. So by the way, there's already a law in the books that says any federal employee and member of Congress cannot pressure private businesses to get somebody fired, and that applies to Sarah Huckabee Sanders. And so this could be something that's getting dangerous, but let's even say that law isn't in place, right? This is a very dangerous precedent to set because she's part of the government. You now have the government essentially trying to prevent certain speech on this private, company show. But it starts to get really, dangerous here because it's not the same with your regular everyday person coming out and saying it because they don't have governmental power. They don't have that kind of sway and power that they do because they have massive power for obvious reasons, right? And they have a lot of intimidation power. And so when you come out like that and you make that comment, honestly, if she had made just that first half, it still would have been iffy because even that has its, ramifications, but the second half just sealed the deal. You can't do that because what you're doing is you're using your authority and power to exert your silencing force upon someone else and trying to get her show canceled. And by the way, if this were to have happened in the same exact context, I would have come out against this if it were Obama or Bernie Sanders or whoever. If it was the same context of, let's hypothetically say, whoever, I don't know, some female comedian on the left or on the right, Roseanne Barr calls Elizabeth Warren a cunt, and she has a show, and Bernie Sanders came out and said TBS should cancel the show. I would be against that. I would 100% be against that. So in the same context, I would be totally against that. And so this is really scary because this is not something that any free speech warrior of any sort should be, and again, in the same context, if this were in the same context flipped in the other situation, I would come out against that move 100%. I would be right there to say, no, that's wrong as a government official. Whatever press secretary in Bernie's administration that were to come out and say this is unacceptable because they have this certain power, and you can't just try to shut down people who are criticizing you as a government official. That's wrong, it's unethical, and there are laws on the books against it. This is a very scary move, but not something that's out of character for the Trump administration.